is to try to get you up and going on using San Diego SuperComputing resources to do social networking in the R language. I'm going to assume that you've got some familiarity with the San Diego SuperComputing resources, but just want to get up to speed in a hurry. And I'm going to assume also that you're one of two folks. Either you're a PI, a principal investigator, or you're assisting a PI, like a grad student like me. And the starting point for all this is going to be the XSEDE.org website, which is the general portal for all of the NSF-managed supercomputing resources around the country. It's a useful starting point. It's a good front door into this world. And if you haven't already got an ID, I just signed in with mine, but if you don't, you need to register. And if you're a PI and don't have a time on the system yet, this is where you go to request time for a project. They have startup accounts that will enable you to, for a modest amount of justification, to get some time. Let's assume that, however, that you've got a project that's been authorized for some time. In general, you request time on a particular resource. So we'll take a look at the resources that we've got time on. And then this next step is pretty much the same whether you're a PI or whether you're assisting a PI, say a grad student. So this isn't actually all that easy for me to find, but the front door for XSEDE takes you to this general information page. Up here where it says Go To, there's two options. XSEDE is the default, but there's also this XUP, which I think stands for XSEDE User Portal, and that's where the stuff that's specific to what you've been granted will show up. So let's go there. And so what you'll see here is what's doing for you right now and the projects on which you've got time. So the service units are the measurement of the time you've got. We have 50,000 service units on the Trestles machine and 100,000 units on the Gordon machine. Notice also that when you mouse over here, you see an ID number. And that's the number that's associated with the original request that was made by our PI, Doug White. And same thing up here on Trestles. We have another ID number for the time there. So this is where you would go just to find those ID numbers. You'll need them later. This kind of tells you where you are at a glance with everything. And at the bottom, there's very good getting started documentation and a whole bunch of documentation on how this all works. But let's assume that first off, you've been granted an allocation, and we can see the allocation here. And then the second thing is that if you're not the PI, you have to request that the PI, in this case Doug White, add you to one or the other or both of these accounts. So you register, send an email to Doug, to your PI, saying, hey, would you please add me to these accounts? And what will that look like once you get them? Over here, there's a view and login to your accounts screen that shows what resources you've actually been granted access to. My experience with this is there's some manual intervention here. Once you're added to the account by Doug, it seems like there's still another step required in order to get you on a particular machine. So think of the portal as a front door. The machines are rooms in the back of the house, and they got their own doorways. You got to get an account on each machine that you want to work on, and that can take several business days. So once you've got that, though, you'll have a user ID and then an option here to log in. And we're going to do the login as our next video. So logging on and initial configuration is our next topic. See you shortly.